Okay, looking through these 5 books, I decided that the easiest one for students was going to be Bats. Let me see if I can open it. Bats at the Library. Okay. When you open the book, right away, I noticed something that I think for like the kids, it'll be easier for them is that it's not as many words as the other 4 choices. It's less words and they tie in with the actual pictures when you're reading the book. You can see it says like right here, yet we were still a little bored and the animals and the bats in the picture look bored. So the writing and the pictures connect in a way where I think for the students it would be okay. And I'm seeing a lot of like sight words like it and at, words that kids know automatically, and it won't be as hard for them to read. And like you can use context clues like for the pictures. So we see right here, the sky is lively as we race. And if they don't know this word together, we can look around and see, okay, the bats are together. And I feel like the students are able to use context clues from the text itself and from the pictures as well, which makes it not as difficult as the other 4. Let me see, I wrote it down. The next one after this one is, I think I put Bats Loves the Nights. Yes. So I kind of based mine off like the first thing I noticed was like whether or not the books were they like really lengthy in words or they help have a lot of pictures. So when you look at this one, though at the text itself is actually enlarged, you can see it like when the kids are reading it, the text isn't like really small. Whereas like on the more difficult end with the books, they were like really small letters. And I know for some students, when the letters are small like that, they can struggle reading them. Whereas this one, it says they're like much bigger in text size. And again, the pictures connect with the story, and the students are able to use context clues from the pictures. Where right here, it's like out under, and you can see like the bat is like under the page, like the way they drew it, so they can use context clues if they don't know what a word is. And I think it flows really nicely. And these ones are more like stories, but they're like stories kids would like to read about. Whereas like the National Geographic, I was looking at that one. That one was like more like facts about bats. But here we see Bat knows her baby voice and calls to it. And it's like it's a cute story for kids to read, and the pictures really do help. And then the next one I picked, the next difficult on the level, it would be was creatures. I think this one. I got the right ones. Yes, bats, creatures of the night. Okay, so here you know I was talking about like the font size. They're smaller than the other 2. The font size when you're looking at it. Bats, creatures of the night, and it's a lot more text and words per page. Like it's not like 3 sentences here. It's like a whole paragraph where the students are having to go in and read. But at the same time, the words that are being used, like they're not as difficult. Like maybe the students have seen them. Like the word, most of these words, like they come flying out of the windows. They swoop low over the river. They dart under an old bridge. I think the only word like a student would have trouble with was maybe like the word swoop. But I think like using context clues, like okay, they're coming out of the window, so they're gonna have to go down and swoop down. You can see in the pictures where they're like they're flying, so it has to do with something with flying. And these words, so I feel like this one and Bats Love the Night, Bat Loves the Night, I'm sorry, Bats Love the Night are kind of equal. They have like both their strengths and their weaknesses. It just depends on what you're wanting your students to do. But I will say, I feel like this one on majority of the pages, it's more text to read and a little less pictures. Like pictures don't really detect, don't really have like a whole amount of like the story. It shows like the bats and them flying, yeah, and like different settings. But this page right here on page 22, it's like two whole paragraphs where the students would have to read nonstop and not have like a break in the page. And maybe like I feel like with these kind of like when they're longer like this, they start at the top, and then by the time they finish the page, they forgot what they read at the beginning. That's just how I feel personally, anyway. And the next book that I have on the difficulty level, let me see. Oh gosh, I have it written down. Okay, it's the PDF. I have to. Bats Strange and Wonderful. In this text, you see how much smaller it is compared to the other one? That's what really like when I see text this small, you really don't see it with like the lower grades. When the text starts getting this small, it's for like the upper grades, like third, fourth, where kids are getting into the habit of like reading full on books. That's why I have this one as like second. It's like the second hardest book, like leveling it. Because these ones are actual, at each page, it is paragraph. This page alone has like 3 paragraphs worth of writing. I feel like again here you can start, and by the time you get to the end, you can start here and you can be talking about Mexico. Then you come over here and you're talking about large brown bats that live in North America. And I feel like it's real easy for kids to get confused and turned around when reading books, especially if they're struggling, like if they don't have a really high reading comprehension, especially students who maybe have like dyslexia. I know they can go from one page to the next. And with this one, this book is it's pretty thick. You can see it goes a long while. It's a thicker book, and I think it takes some time if the kids are struggling to read this book. Because personally, I have a sister who has dyslexia, and I know she really doesn't like books that have like huge paragraphs, even if it's like a picture book like this. She really dislikes them and she struggles with them because, like, I know like she can read page 28, and by the time she gets to the end of page 29, she's completely confused on what she completely forgot what she read on the previous page. Whereas like on the first book, like Bats at the Library, the sentences were pretty short, where like it was like 1 or 2 sentences per page, and my sister can like students can like read the first page, read the second page, and then like, okay, yes, that's what happened. I can remember what happened. And I think the most difficult one I noticed, let me open it. I don't know if I put Bats National Geographic personally. This one just seems like it's a lot of different information. It's like facts, more facts, less story, whereas the other ones, like here, it's talking like the different type of bat bodies, like how their wings are structured. It's focusing more on facts. It's more informational than it is like fiction. And I feel like students in general like reading books where they have like a storyline to them, where there's like a beginning, middle, end. Whereas here, I noticed that like it's just a lot of facts being given to the students. Like it's like right here, it's telling you what's real and what are some misconceptions people have about bats. And I didn't notice that in the other 4 books. Whereas they're talking about like the different types of bats, how they fly, why they're important to nature. I didn't that This just seems like something a teacher would use when they're trying to teach students about like why bats are important to like to the environment and nature, and how they came to be, and why they like hang upside down. And in general, I think National Geographic books like this, they're more for educational, where the other ones students maybe will actually just sit down and enjoy reading. Because I know something that is important when it comes to like reading books and like student interest is important. I don't know, like if this like for some students maybe they like reading more books but has like a storyline, but this one focuses like more on facts and it's more informational rather than fiction. So I feel like this one's maybe the most difficult, but that's just me personally. I might be wrong on like the reading level because I see this is a reading level 2. So I don't know. I feel like I do want like if I'm looking at a book, I'm looking at like, okay, how much how many words is on each page and how many sentences are there? And like how thick is the book? What is it about? And I also go off of like student interest. It's important that the students are interested on about these books. So like Bats at the Library, we know that that was about like bats being in the library, like literally in the title. But when you come like to the National Geographic, I feel like students are more likely to maybe pick bats at the library because it's more of a story being told rather than just giving straight out hard facts. So yeah, National Geographic was maybe the most difficult, that's what I think, and then Bats at the Library is the easiest.